Good friend of the show, Ross Dellenger. He is now at Yahoo Sports, and it didn't take him long to have a story from today, SEC Media Days, where he has been. Not that this is the only one. Pac-12 will not announce new TV deal at Media Days in Vegas this week. He joins us on 365 Sports. Ross, thank you for your time. When you heard that, or the source spoke with you about that, did that surprise you there would be nothing at least concrete?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised by anything anymore when it comes to this situation with the Pac-12 TV deal. Nothing really surprises me, but I did kind of expect something this week, maybe a formal announcement at Media Day, or maybe just more concrete, news around a TV deal other than, it's not happening this week, and that's that. It sounds like it's close, maybe closer than it's been in the past, but we've heard deadlines put out there by, on the record by conference presidents, and they have not been met. I don't know what to really believe about this situation, and nothing really surprises me. But the bottom line is there will be more waiting for a Pac-12 TV deal.
Do you feel that the optimism that they kind of float out there is legitimate, or is that, they've been kind of doing that the whole time, and we're still here, and it's not going to be until, at least 2 more weeks from now before we hear anything?
Yeah, it's tough to say. If you were probably in their position, if we were in their position, I could understand the way they're approaching this and wanting to give off as much optimism and positivity as possible, and that's what they've been doing. If it isn't a positive outcome, I would think there'll be a lot of egg on faces on people maybe in that conference in general, namely, right, the conference leadership. But they are all singing kind of the tune of they're together and intact, and they're going to stay that way, and they're going to have a TV deal that's going to be good enough to keep everyone together. I'll be honest, like I said earlier, this situation is one of the kind of most bizarre that I've encountered in college athletics. When you lump in the Big 12 pursuit of some Pac-12 teams and kind of the agendas by this league and that league, and it's been kind of hard to parse through exactly what's happening. So I tried to keep that story today nuts and bolts of, hey, a deal is not going to be announced this week. They believe it's getting close, and in the near future will be announced, and they're preaching positivity. But it's hard. It's hard to kind of to believe anything right now you hear about the situation.
Well, Ross, that angle you're taking and doing that is much appreciated by a lot of people. I think I speak for quite a few folks, because I know it is easy to just run with whatever rumor and blow it up and just do whatever to get attention. That certainly can be done, but you are just sticking to meat and potatoes and the actual facts, and I think everybody or there's at least a lot of people, not everybody, a lot of people that do appreciate that. Having said that, if you could be up there on Friday and ask George Kliavkoff one question regarding this entire saga, what question would you ask George Kliavkoff?
I would hesitate to ask him anything about the TV deal, because the response you're going to get is a non-answer. If you were to inject truth serum in him and get one question, I would ask what network outlet, media outlet, whatever you want to call them, broadcast outlet, who are you talking to? What are the top couple that you're speaking to and negotiating with? Specifically, who will be, or who do you expect to be your primary broadcasting partner? And that's been a hard question to answer. And I wrote about it a little bit in that story. We know that, ESPN and Fox, NBC, and CBS have all done deals recently with Power 5 conferences. They're in the Big 12, right? Signed on with Fox and ESPN. Big 10 did CBS and NBC and Fox and SECs with ESPN. And then you have the Apple and Amazons that seem to want to get into the game. So you'd like to think those are some of the outlets or networks involved. But if you speak to people on the TV side, they don't really confirm that they're talking deeply with the Pac-12, and so I'd want to know what networks that they've identified as potential primary broadcasting.
Ross, the one of the things I think that's also probably hurt them, don't you think? There's been some presidents or ADs for the last several months, it seems like on multiple occasions, mentioned that they have something that they're close to, and it just seems like they're kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, there have been a lot of deadlines placed on this deal, and I should say not by the commissioner, but by a couple of different conference presidents, maybe even some athletic directors. I think the last athletic director I saw actually make a comment was Ray Anderson at Arizona State, who actually said this thing could go. I believe he mentioned July or August. This thing could go that deep. But we've seen a lot of deadlines placed, and it does put pressure on the commissioner and the conference leadership. And yeah, that's probably wasn't wise of them to set deadlines that they cannot reach.
Ross, SEC Media Days going on right now in Nashville. Yesterday, Jimbo Fisher kind of got a lot of the attention because of not really directly answering any questions about Bobby Petrino. What's your read on this overall about what the message he's trying to get across there when asked those questions?
Yeah, it's hard to kind of figure out exactly what's going on there in College Station. You've got some pretty big personalities involved with Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino, two kind of offensive minded guys. Petrino, we all have to remember, it's been a long time since Bobby Petrino was an assistant and took orders. So, and Jimbo Fisher didn't really come out clearly in front of the group of media and say, hey, he's got full control, I'm going to call the plays. It's probably because he doesn't necessarily have full control. The read into that would be he doesn't have necessarily full control of the offense, and Jimbo Fisher will probably very much be involved.
Ross, where does your mind go when it comes to, I'm sure we'll find out in some of your Yahoo work here, but where does your mind kind of go with the SEC Media Days and points of interest for you in particular?
Well, NIL was obviously a big topic of day one, and we'll be having something come out on Yahoo tomorrow, just from a sit-down with Greg Sankey we had about NIL and the state of NIL and maybe the future right now in college athletics and where we're heading, and so that's always a big topic on my mind. Obviously, tomorrow is Alabama, and Nick Saban will be here, right, and that'll be quite a spectacle. My columnist Dan Wetzel will probably be all over the Alabama angle. That's always a spectacle. Here in Florida, I believe, is tomorrow as well. So two pretty big programs will be coming here to downtown Nashville, and should be a fun day.
I listened to the latest conversation you guys had on your podcast about the NIL discussion and Greg Sankey and what he had to say, and you pointed out, the whole crew did, about the fact that the schools are the NCAA, and there's like this weird thing of they're like eating their own tail. And what do you think's on the other side of this in terms of the schools are the NCAA, yet they're fighting back against the own rules they implemented to break those rules to have an advantage? So what does that ultimately turn into? Another entity that they control the exact same way that they then break those rules? Or like, where does this eventually head, do you think?
Well, this is something that a lot of, like just casual college football fans don't really understand. They all want to, and we all in general want to kind of crush the NCAA and poke fun and poke holes in the NCAA. But the NCAA is a voluntary membership organization made up of the schools. And the rules that the NCAA enforces, because the NCAA does do a few things itself as a organization there in Indianapolis, it enforces rules made by its members, which are the schools. And most NCAA committees are made up of athletic administrators, coaches, and school presidents from the schools. And so right now, with NIL, you've got a real interesting situation popping up, and you've got schools that have created these NCAA bylaws that are encouraging their state lawmakers to create state laws that permit them to violate the same rules that they created in the NCAA, within the NCAA. And it's feels like it's sure getting to a breaking point. And we're getting to a point in Congress where the NCAA is trying to seek help for federal NIL bill to supersede these state laws, where the NCAA is going to have to come up with some kind of backup plan of some sort. And I think they're in the middle of that now. You'll read a little bit more about that maybe tomorrow at Yahoo. But it's getting to the breaking point here of the situation.
One thing, Ross, and we got to let you go. I know you're busy. Ross Dellenger now with Yahoo Sports with us on 365 Sports. You released a story about the Pac-12, and others have now followed suit. One of the quotes was that they have new partners coming to the table that weren't there before. Do you believe that?
Well, that's one of the things I've heard as well. I have. Like I said earlier, Smokey, this situation has been so fragile to deal with, and it's been hard to sift through a lot that I didn't want to include in there what might be termed as kind of speculation, or biased speculation. So I kind of stayed away from quoting that, but I have heard that. I have heard that from Pac-12 officials. It's hard to believe anything right now with this situation. And so I kind of sidestepped mentioning that in my story.
Thanks for making time for us today, man. Congratulations on the opportunity with Yahoo Sports. I knew that wouldn't take long, and glad that you're a part of that. Thanks for your time.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Ross Dellenger, yahoosports.com, with us on 365 Sports. Here's a couple of